Have you ever met someone who walks into a room and, without saying a word, everyone notices them? Not because they're loud, not because they're dressed to impress, but because there's something about their presence, calm, composed, magnetic, that quietly draws people in. We've all seen it. Maybe at a coffee shop, in a meeting, or just walking down the street. A person who radiates strength, grace, and confidence without ever needing to raise their voice. That's what I call silent attractiveness. It's not about having perfect looks or being the most interesting person in the room. It's about something deeper, a kind of inner power, a stillness that says, I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it to anyone. And here's the truth. You don't have to change who you are to become this kind of person. You don't need to be extroverted, dominant, or flawless. You just need to become more aligned with your truest self, more grounded, more intentional, and more free from the noise around you. In this video, we'll explore Stoic philosophy, an ancient path that has helped warriors, emperors, and thinkers find calm strength for over 2,000 years. Because in a world full of noise, the Stoics teach us the power of stillness. Together, we'll uncover 11 habits that will help you. Embrace quiet independence, master silent elegance, build emotional intelligence, and project confidence without ever needing to shout "ning." If you're ready to discover what makes someone silently irresistible, then let's begin and unlock the habits that make presence more powerful than words. Number 1. Embrace your authentic independence. Because the most powerful kind of strength is the kind that stands quietly on its own, without the need to be seen, praised, or approved. In a world obsessed with validation and external applause, Stoic independence is a radical act. It's not about being a loner. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about knowing deeply that your worth doesn't rise and fall with someone else's opinion. From the Stoic point of view, independence means aligning your life with your inner compass, not the winds of public approval. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor of Rome, wrote not to impress others, but to remind himself, look within. Within is the fountain of good. To be authentically independent is to be anchored. You're not driven by trends. You're not swayed by noise. You choose your path and you walk it, even if you walk it alone. Think about the kind of people we quietly admire. The man who doesn't have to explain his silence. The woman who makes decisions without broadcasting them. The friend who chooses what's right, even when it's unpopular. They don't ask for attention. And yet, somehow, people notice them anyway. That's the paradox of true independence. When you stop needing the spotlight, you become magnetic. In today's hyper-connected world, where self-worth is measured in likes and followers, someone who finds fulfillment from within, who doesn't seek permission to be who they are, is rare. And because it's rare, it's deeply attractive. People instinctively respect those who don't chase approval. They may not understand it, but they feel it. Of course, this kind of independence isn't easy. It's not built in moments of comfort. It's forged in quiet defiance, when you choose to stay true to yourself, even when the room disagrees. Maybe it's choosing not to follow the crowd when your values say otherwise. Maybe it's walking away from a relationship that once defined you, or staying in on a Friday night to build something meaningful, while everyone else is out chasing distraction. This path is lonely sometimes, but it's never empty, because it's real, and it's yours. Have you ever caught yourself doing something just to be liked? Maybe you posted something online that didn't feel like you, but you knew it would get attention. Or maybe you kept quiet when you wanted to speak, afraid of being judged. Do you sometimes feel like your life is being graded on a scale you didn't choose? Here's the truth. No one gets to assign value to your life. No one is qualified to tell you what matters to you. You're the only one living your story. And when you live it according to your own principles, you stop performing and start living. Bookmark. So how do you cultivate authentic independence? Start by spending time with yourself without distraction. Go for a walk without your phone. Journal your thoughts without editing them for anyone's approval. Ask yourself, what do I believe in, even when no one agrees? Practice decision-making from within. Before saying yes to a request, pause. Ask, am I doing this because I want to or because I don't want to disappoint someone? And commit to one long-term practice. Build your personal code of values. Write them down. Revisit them often. Let them guide your choices, not trends, not fear, not the crowd. Because once your life is rooted in principle, you stop drifting with the tide and start standing like a lighthouse in a world that's constantly shifting. Authentic independence isn't cold or distant. It's not a wall, it's a foundation. It's what allows you to connect with others from a place of truth, not neediness. You're not grasping for belonging. You're offering presence, stable, clear, and grounded. And that's why it's so powerful. Because when you don't need anyone to complete you, you become someone others want to be around. That's the beauty of silent strength. It doesn't shout, it doesn't beg, it simply is. Number 2, master the art of silent elegance. Sometimes, the smallest details leave the biggest impressions. The way you pause before entering a room, the calm in your eyes when you listen, or the way your presence doesn't demand space, but fills it with grace. We often overlook these things. We chase charisma, volume, and bold gestures, forgetting that there's another kind of power, quieter, softer, but deeply unforgettable. That power is called silent elegance. It's not in how much you say, but in how you carry yourself when you say nothing at all. It lives in subtle things. A carefully chosen outfit, not for fashion, but for dignity. A gentle nod that acknowledges someone without needing a word. The way your posture communicates respect, for others and for yourself. It's not loud, but it lingers. Think of someone you've met just once, yet never forgot. Not because they tried to impress you, but because there was something about the way they stood, the way they looked at the world, with presence, not performance. Why does this subtlety have such power? Because it reveals something rare, self-respect. Intention, inner alignment. When you're composed on the outside, it often reflects harmony on the inside. And in a chaotic, reactive world, this calm, quiet coherence becomes magnetic. The Stoics believed that how you show up externally should mirror your inner state, not as a performance, but as a commitment to live mindfully. Seneca wrote, "Let your outward appearance reflect the serenity of your mind." Silent elegance is not vanity. It's virtue, made visible, and it goes deeper than appearance. It's in how you enter a conversation, not trying to dominate, but to contribute. It's in how you hold space for silence, without rushing to fill it. It's in the confidence of someone who has nothing to prove, because they already know their worth. It's not just about how you dress or speak. It's about how your entire being tells the world, "I am here, not to be seen, but to be real." That's what Stoic presence looks like. Stillness, integrity, grounded strength. Have you ever remembered someone just because of how they made you feel, without saying much? Maybe it was the quiet professor who walked slowly into the lecture hall and made everyone listen without raising his voice. Or the woman in line at the bookstore, calm, poised, kind, who didn't need to smile constantly to radiate warmth. You can be that person. You don't need to be loud. You need to be intentional. And once you embody that, people may not be able to explain why, but they'll remember you. So how do you cultivate silent elegance? First, choose presence over performance. Slow down. Before speaking, breathe. Before entering a room, pause. Let your movement reflect calm, not hurry. Second, care for the details that represent you. Choose one subtle fragrance that matches your energy, not for attention, but for consistency. Maintain personal hygiene and grooming, not out of pride, but out of respect for yourself. Third, master the art of nonverbal communication. Make eye contact that is steady, not piercing. Use gestures that are purposeful, not exaggerated. Walk with posture that reflects balance, not ego. And long-term, define your personal style, not to fit in, but to stand out without shouting. Let your look, your voice, your presence all become an extension of your values. The Stoics taught that discipline is not just about denying excess. It's about cultivating harmony in every part of life, from your thoughts to your steps. Silent elegance is the art of self-mastery expressed through grace. You don't just carry yourself well, you carry your philosophy quietly in every gesture. And in a world of noise, this calm, composed confidence becomes not just rare, but irresistible. You don't need to seek attention. When you live with intention, even your scent leaves a legacy. So wear your values, walk with purpose. Let your silence speak louder than vanity ever could. Because elegance, when rooted in Stoic strength, isn't just beautiful, it's eternal. Number 3. The subtle scent of sophistication. The subtle scent of sophistication is not something you see. You feel it. Sometimes in the air a person leaves behind, other times in the space they hold simply by being present. Sophistication doesn't announce itself. It enters quietly, but it stays in your memory long after the noise has faded. Let's be clear, this isn't about perfumes or polished appearances alone. And it's definitely not about trying to impress. It's not the silence of insecurity or the quietness of someone afraid to speak. No, it's the kind of quiet that comes from clarity. It's the stillness of someone who knows who they are and lives accordingly. While others rush to fill silence with words, you cultivate a presence that makes the silence feel full. And that's what makes you unforgettable. This subtle power is built from simple elements, each one more refined than the last. Body language. You don't need exaggerated movement or overly confident strides. A calm, upright posture. Steady, but never intimidating, eye contact. A sense of stillness in how you walk, sit, stand. Why does this matter? Because as Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. How you carry your body reflects your mind. If your body is composed, your spirit likely is too. Bookmark. 2. Manners. There is quiet power in greeting others gently, listening attentively, and responding thoughtfully. Politeness is not weakness. It's self-control. And in Stoic terms, virtue in practice. It's easy to interrupt, to dominate a space with charm or wit. But to let others be heard, to make them feel seen without needing to be seen yourself, that is the mark of true refinement. Bookmark. 3. Composure. This is the soul of sophistication. Not being unshaken because nothing challenges you, but because you've learned to breathe through the storm. In chaos, you remain grounded. Not by ignoring emotion, but by understanding it without being ruled by it. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In a heated conversation, when someone lashes out, your calm reply becomes your greatest strength. Not passive, just unshakably present. This isn't easy. This level of restraint, this grace, it's not instinct. It's a choice you make again and again. You'll be tested. When someone tries to provoke you in public, when you're underestimated in a room full of loud voices, when you feel the need to prove yourself and instead you choose not to. Sophistication, in the Stoic sense, is not about retreating. It's about advancing, quietly, with purpose. Have you ever met someone whose calm energy filled the room without saying a word? Someone who didn't need to speak to be heard? What if your strongest message is the one you never say aloud? You don't need volume to be felt. You need alignment between your body, your mind, and your values. People may forget what you said, but they'll remember how you stood, how you looked at them, and how you made them feel, without trying to impress. Bookmark. So how can you cultivate this silent sophistication? Observe your posture. Throughout your day, catch yourself. Are you slouched? Tense? Rushed? Practice standing tall with relaxed shoulders. Your body teaches your mind to be calm. Pause before reacting. In conversations, give space before you speak. Respond, don't react, especially when triggered. Listen more than you speak. This doesn't mean withholding. It means making your words intentional. Long-term habit. Clarify your personal aesthetic, not for fashion, but to reflect your values. Choose simple, clean, purposeful expressions of who you are, like a uniform of inner clarity. Every detail becomes a way to embody your principles without ever needing to explain them. The subtle scent of sophistication is not about how you smell. It's about how you live, with poise, with intention, with restraint. You don't need to seek attention. When you live with intention, even your silence leaves a legacy. So walk with calm, speak with clarity, and let every small action reveal the philosophy within you. Because in the Stoic life, how you show up quietly, thoughtfully, is your greatest influence. Number 4, being fully present. In a world full of distractions, someone who's fully present becomes unforgettable. We live in a time where people can have hundreds of conversations a day, and yet still feel unseen, unheard, and untouched. We scroll while we eat. We check emails mid-sentence. We nod while our minds are miles away. And somewhere along the way, we forgot how powerful it is just to be here. Being fully present isn't just about showing up. It's about offering your full attention, your eyes, your mind, your energy, right here, right now. It means putting your phone down when someone is speaking. It means listening not to respond, but to understand. It means being comfortable with silence, because your presence is already enough. This kind of presence is rare, and because it's rare, it's deeply valuable. It tells people, you matter. I'm here, with you, fully. And in a world that rewards speed and multitasking, choosing to be fully present is not weakness. It's a form of strength. You've probably felt the opposite. You're telling a story, and halfway through, the other person's eyes glance at their phone. They nod, but the nod is empty. Their face is polite, but their energy is long gone. And without a word, you feel it. It's like your words just hit the floor. It feels dismissive, as if you don't matter. But then, there's the other kind of moment, when someone locks eyes with you, leans in slightly, waits for you to finish your thought, and responds, not from memory, but from being right there with you. And in that moment, you feel respected, you feel seen, you feel real. The Stoics understood this long before smartphones ever existed. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present, not because the past or future are unimportant, but because the only thing you can truly control is this moment." Being present is a decision. It's an act of courage. It says, I'm not running, I'm not distracted, I'm here now, and I'm not afraid to stay here. In Stoicism, we don't chase the approval of others. We master ourselves first. And presence is part of that mastery. It's not just social etiquette, it's self-respect in action. And when you bring that presence into a room, something shifts. You're no longer the person talking over others or trying to outshine the crowd. You become the person who draws others in, quietly. Because your presence tells them, you don't have to be anyone else around me. Just be here. And that is incredibly magnetic. In Stoic terms, you're not using people to feel important. You're sharing your calm, your clarity, your undivided self. So, how do you actually practice presence? 1. Silence your phone, or at least your notifications when talking to someone. Small act, big respect. 2. Make eye contact. Not like a stare down, but a steady connection. Let people feel you're with them. 3. Do one thing at a time. When eating, just eat. When listening, don't rehearse your reply. Just listen. 4. Take 60 seconds of stillness every morning. Before the world rushes in, just sit. Notice your breath. Feel your body. Let your thoughts pass without grabbing them. This is where presence begins, in you. Long-term strategy? Practice mindfulness. Not just in meditation, but in everything. Mindfulness is presence, and presence is a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. Presence is a habit. The more you practice it, the more powerful it becomes. Because here's the truth. Presence builds trust, trust builds connection, and connection makes you magnetic. You don't need to be brilliant or funny or polished. You just need to be here, fully, honestly, and intentionally. And in a world starving for attention, the one who gives it freely becomes unforgettable. In a noisy world, be the person who listens. Number 5. A touch of mystery. In a world where everyone overshares, mystery becomes magnetic. We're living in the age of exposure, where people post their every thought, feeling, and meal, and where attention is often mistaken for connection. But there's something quietly powerful about someone who doesn't reveal everything. Something rare, something compelling. When people sense there's more to you than what they see, they lean in. They listen longer. They wonder. Let's be clear. Mystery is not distance, and it's not manipulation. It's the intentional choice to hold something back. Not because you're hiding, but because you respect your own depth. You don't owe the world a full broadcast of your every emotion, decision, or struggle. And choosing not to explain yourself all the time isn't cold. It's composed. Mystery, in its most honest form, is a quiet expression of self-respect. Psychologically, we're drawn to what we can't fully access. That's not a game, it's human nature. When someone leaves space for curiosity, they activate something ancient in our minds. The drive to discover. Because the moment you lay every card on the table, there's nothing left to explore. But when you reveal just enough, when you give someone a glimpse, not the whole story, you don't lose depth. You invite connection. slowly, meaningfully. It's not about hiding. It's about letting someone earn their way into your world. Think about it. We've all met people who overshare too quickly, who tell their life story before you've even finished your coffee. And while it may feel honest, it often leaves no space. No tension, no mystery, no pull. Compare that to someone who speaks with intention, who listens more than they speak, who lets you discover them layer by layer. Their presence is unforgettable because it lingers. The Stoics valued this restraint deeply. Epictetus once said, "Be silent, or let your words be worth more than silence." That's not just advice about talking less. It's about recognizing the weight of your voice and knowing that sometimes the strongest message is the one you choose not to say. In Stoicism, self-restraint is a virtue. To speak with purpose, to act with clarity, to choose when to share and when to hold. Mystery isn't just in your words, it's in your energy, your movements, your choices. You don't need to explain why you left the party early, or why you turned down an opportunity that everyone else wanted. Let people see your decisions, but don't feel the need to narrate them. Let your life speak for itself. Live with enough clarity that your presence does the talking. That quiet confidence, it's the loudest thing in the room. And often, the most mysterious people aren't hiding at all. They're just rich with inner life. They read, they reflect, they build. They have hobbies no one knows about. They enjoy solitude not because they're avoiding people, but because they know who they are without constant validation. You can sense there's more beneath the surface, and that's what makes them magnetic. So how do you cultivate a touch of mystery? Ask yourself, am I sharing this because it's meaningful, or because I want to be seen? Learn to pause before speaking. Not everything needs an explanation. Let silence do some of the talking. Choose what to share and with whom. Not everyone needs to know your past, your goals, your every thought. Save the real parts of you for people who've earned it. Build your private world. Read books that move you. Explore interests that feed you. Create depth that doesn't need to be displayed. Long-term strategy? Practice being unapologetically selective. Don't be hard to reach. Be worth discovering. Because when you do that, you don't just become mysterious, you become memorable. Mystery doesn't shout, it whispers, and it lingers. It creates room for people to imagine, to wonder, to respect. So don't be afraid to hold something back. Your silence is not a weakness. It's an invitation to connect with depth, not noise. Let people discover you one layer at a time, because the deepest connections aren't built through exposure. They're built through presence, intention, and quiet strength. Number 6. Cultivate cultural wisdom. There's something undeniably attractive about a person who carries quiet confidence and deep understanding of the world. This isn't charisma based on flashy clothes or quick wit. It's something deeper, quieter, yet infinitely more captivating. It's the kind of presence that draws others naturally, without trying too hard. Think about the last person you met who instantly earned your respect. Not by dominating conversation, but by quietly offering insights that opened your eyes to new ways of seeing. They weren't eager to show off how smart they were. Instead, they simply listened, asked thoughtful questions, and shared perspectives gently and clearly. They demonstrated something rare, something that can't be faked, genuine cultural wisdom. Now let's clarify this concept. Cultural wisdom is often misunderstood. It's not about how many countries you've traveled to, how many languages you speak fluently, or how much trivia you've memorized about different cultures. While these can help, the true heart of cultural wisdom is much simpler and much richer. It's the ability to approach the world and its people with openness and curiosity. It means genuinely listening to others, not just nodding politely. It's about letting other people's experiences, stories, and perspectives teach you something new every day. It's wisdom born from empathy and humility. Why does this matter? Why does having a broader understanding of the world make you more attractive? Because it transforms you from someone who simply talks into someone who truly connects. Your ability to understand diverse perspectives allows you to bridge differences effortlessly. You become someone who can move beyond surface-level conversations to create meaningful interactions. Ask yourself honestly, am I the kind of person who listens to understand or just to respond? It's a subtle difference, but it changes everything. Think about it practically. You've probably met two very different types of people. The first tries desperately to impress you, dropping obscure facts or big words, often interrupting you to assert their opinion. It feels exhausting and sometimes irritating. Then there's the second type, someone whose wisdom is felt in the way they carry themselves, the thoughtful questions they ask, and the respectful way they respond. Their conversation is like a gentle, welcoming space. This is the person who stays in your memory, the one you seek out again, because talking to them leaves you feeling respected, inspired, and connected. This aligns closely with the teachings of Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Look beneath the surface. Let not the outward appearances mislead you." Stoicism teaches us not just to exist in this world, but to deeply understand it. It invites us to look inward, understand ourselves first, and then turn outward, to genuinely appreciate and understand the lives of those around us. This depth of understanding is precisely what makes someone truly wise. So, how can you turn this from theory into practice? Start simple. Read something from a culture you know little about. Pick up a book that takes you far outside your comfort zone, not just to collect information, but to genuinely understand another way of seeing the world. Listen fully to someone whose experience differs greatly from yours. Don't judge or jump to conclusions. Just be present, curious, and open-hearted. At the end of each day, reflect briefly in your journal. What did I learn today from someone whose perspective is different from mine? For a deeper, longer-term strategy, seek conversations with people who disagree with you, on purpose. Not to argue, but to understand. Practice the art of asking thoughtful questions, rather than making instant judgments. This practice helps you develop intellectual humility and emotional maturity, both essential elements of cultural wisdom. Because here's the truth. True wisdom doesn't need to shout or impress. It simply listens, learns, and quietly shares insights that help others grow. The most attractive person in any room isn't always the loudest. They're often the quietest, but also the most genuinely curious, empathetic, and wise. Wisdom doesn't shout, it listens, and that's why it resonates. When you embody this kind of quiet cultural wisdom, your presence naturally becomes unforgettable, without ever needing to make noise. Number 7. The heartbeat of compassion. In today's world, everything moves fast. Deadlines, notifications, endless to-do lists. We chase achievement, productivity, and appearances, often forgetting the people standing right beside us. But once in a while, someone breaks that rhythm. They're not in a rush to speak. They pause when you're struggling. They look you in the eye, not to fix you, but simply to say, "I see you." Compassion isn't loud. It doesn't need applause or attention. It's quiet, gentle, but it leaves a mark that lingers long after the moment has passed. Let's be clear. Real compassion isn't weakness. It's not giving in or saying yes to everything. And it's not about sacrificing yourself to make others comfortable. True compassion is this: being fully present, genuinely caring, and expecting nothing in return. It's choosing to listen without interrupting. It's noticing when someone is tired and offering them a smile. It's holding back judgment until you truly understand. These are small things, but they change everything. Why does compassion make someone so attractive? Because kindness, in a world of ego and performance, stands out. People don't always remember your words. They may forget what you wore or what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. When you practice compassion, you become someone people trust. Someone who doesn't rush to correct, but calmly offers space to grow. You may not steal the spotlight, but you leave behind a warm glow that people never forget. Stoic philosophy embraces this. Even though Stoicism is often misunderstood as emotionally distant, it actually teaches us to be deeply compassionate, just with discipline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That's not about being harsh. It means we should hold ourselves to a higher standard of patience, presence, and understanding. The Stoic doesn't ignore the suffering of others. They simply don't let it consume them. They offer care without losing their balance. Compassion, in the Stoic sense, is a courageous choice. To stay calm when others are spiraling. To hold space for someone without absorbing their chaos. To respond gently when every instinct wants to react harshly. Let me share a story. A friend of mine once worked in a hospital emergency room. Fast-paced, high stress, always on edge. There was a nurse there who never raised her voice. She didn't talk much, but every patient left her care feeling safe, even if all she did was sit quietly and hold their hand for a moment. Other staff rushed around, sometimes impatient, but she stayed grounded, calm, present. Years later, when people spoke about that hospital, it wasn't the doctors they remembered, it was her. Because the person who stayed calm when everyone else was stressed is always remembered. So, how do you practice this kind of compassion? Start small. Each day, choose one person to listen to without interrupting. Just listen. Let them finish. Let them breathe. At the end of your day, ask yourself, where was I impatient today? Write it down. What could you have done differently? What can you try again tomorrow? Ask one real question a day. Not how are you, out of habit, but how have you really been feeling lately? And for the long term, be kind to yourself. Compassion for others starts with self-compassion. You can't pour from an empty cup. When you learn to treat your own mistakes with patience, you naturally extend that same grace to others. Now pause for a second and ask yourself, am I someone who makes others feel seen and valued? Not every moment, not perfectly, but consistently, with intention. Compassion is a habit, not a talent. It's something you grow into. And the more you practice it, the more it becomes part of who you are. You don't need to be dramatic to make a difference. You just need to show up, calm, kind, and steady. Because real power doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's the softest voice in the room. Compassion is presence, and in a noisy world, presence is unforgettable. Number 8. Laughter and joy. Laughter and joy are quiet forms of strength. They don't scream for attention. They don't ask for validation. But when they're real, genuine, grounded, and free, they transform the room. There's something radiant about a person who knows how to smile through the chaos. Not the smile that hides pain, but the one that rises because of it. The kind of laughter that says, I've been through storms and I'm still standing. Let's clear this up. Joy is not naive. Laughter is not shallow. It's a mistake to think that people who laugh easily haven't suffered deeply. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes joy is a choice, a courageous act of rebellion against bitterness. Stoicism doesn't reject emotion. It teaches us to own it, not be owned by it. And what is more powerful than finding a reason to laugh, even when life isn't perfect? Joy isn't performative. It doesn't look like forced smiles in filtered photos. It's not the loudest laugh in the room. In fact, it often looks like this. A quiet chuckle when plans go wrong, but you roll with it. A soft smile to a stranger, with no reason other than shared humanity. The ability to poke fun at yourself without losing your dignity. That's stoic joy. Not reckless, but real. Not exaggerated, but enduring. Seneca once wrote, "The wise man is cheerful, even in adversity." To the Stoics, joy wasn't the absence of difficulty. It was the fruit of perspective. When you know that life will challenge you, and you still choose lightness over resentment, you're no longer controlled by circumstances. You are free. But let's be honest, joy takes practice. It's easier to complain than to laugh. Easier to see what's wrong than what's working. Easier to match the world's cynicism than to resist it with humor. There will be days when everything feels heavy. People will test your patience. Work will overwhelm you. Plans will fall apart. And yet, there you are, with that subtle grin, that quiet chuckle, that small joke that lifts the room without anyone realizing it. You don't deflect pain, you honor it. But you also refuse to be consumed by it. That's joy, and it's incredibly attractive. Have you ever been around someone who makes everything feel lighter, without saying much? Maybe it's your friend who notices the irony in everyday moments, or the colleague who stays calm in the middle of a meltdown and says just enough to make people exhale. You remember those people, not because they were the loudest, but because their joy felt real. So how do you cultivate this habit? Here are a few simple practices. Start the day with one honest smile, not to anyone else, to yourself. In the mirror, even on tough mornings, especially on tough mornings. Keep a joy journal. Each night, write down one thing that made you smile, even if it was small, especially if it was small. Laugh at yourself at least once a day. Not in self-deprecation, but in self-awareness. It reminds you that you're human. And that's a gift. Long-term strategy? Surround yourself with people who value depth and lightness, the ones who don't take themselves too seriously, who can talk philosophy in the morning and laugh about spilled coffee in the afternoon. Those people will help you remember that strength and softness can coexist. Laughter and joy are not accessories to life. They are signs that you're awake to it. They show that your heart hasn't hardened, that your spirit hasn't collapsed under pressure, that you still believe, despite it all, that life is worth smiling about. So let me ask you, when was the last time you laughed, not because something was funny, but because you felt free? Let that guide you. Let that softness become part of your strength, because real joy doesn't perform. It emanates from a place of resilience, from a mind that knows pain but doesn't stay in it. Joy is presence, and in a heavy world, presence is everything. Number 9, the art of self-care. There's a quiet magnetism in someone who truly takes care of themselves, not for appearance, not for recognition, but because they understand that their well-being is their foundation. In a world obsessed with output, competition, and never-ending speed, a person who chooses to slow down, nourish their body, and protect their peace becomes rare and deeply captivating, because that kind of presence doesn't come from performance, it comes from alignment. Let's redefine what self-care really means. It's not spa days and scented candles, though those things are nice. It's not indulgence or luxury. It's not something you earn after burnout. Self-care isn't a routine, it's a declaration of self-worth. It's saying, I matter, even when no one's watching, even when I'm not achieving anything. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it speaks volumes. Every time you choose to rest, to eat mindfully, to say no, to breathe instead of scroll, you're sending a quiet message to the world. I respect myself. Let's break this down. A. Physical alignment. This is where it begins. Your body is not separate from your mind, it's a reflection of it. Getting enough sleep, eating real food, moving your body, not because you're chasing perfection, but because your body is the instrument of your presence. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, you must take care of the body, not for its own sake, but because it is the servant of the mind. You don't have to be an athlete, you just need to honor the vessel that carries your thoughts, your spirit, and your purpose. Mental and emotional stability. The world is loud, so your inner world needs stillness. Writing down your thoughts in a journal, pausing for a few breaths before responding, taking 10 minutes to do nothing without guilt. These small moments create an inner landscape that feels safe, not just for you, but for everyone who interacts with you. When someone has tended to their emotional world, you can feel it. They don't drain you. They don't project their chaos. They offer space, not static. C. Boundary setting and energy protection. This is one of the most underestimated acts of self-care, knowing when to say no. You don't owe everyone your time. You don't have to attend every invitation, reply instantly, or explain every decision. Self-care is leaving a group chat when it drains you. It's walking away from gossip. It's stepping out of conversations that don't honor your values. It's not cold, it's clear. And clarity is kindness, to yourself and to others. So let me ask you, are you taking care of yourself in a way that reflects your worth? Not just checking boxes, but truly honoring your energy, your time, your boundaries. Because how you treat yourself sets the tone for how the world will treat you too. Here are a few quiet, powerful practices to begin. Today, go to bed 30 minutes earlier tonight. Not because you're tired, but because you care about your future self. Drink a glass of water before reaching for coffee. Signal to your body that it comes first. Breathe deeply for 60 seconds before checking your phone in the morning. Let your day begin with intention, not impulse. Long-term, create a daily ritual that centers you. Maybe it's 5 minutes of silence, a short walk, a handwritten note to yourself. What matters isn't how long, it's how present. Set energetic boundaries. Practice saying that's not for me, without apology, without over-explaining. Because here's the truth, self-care doesn't demand attention. It simply shows. You don't need to shout your value, you show it, one mindful habit at a time. So tonight, don't wait for burnout, don't wait for permission. Start small, start quiet, start with yourself. Number 10. Emotional intelligence and social awareness. The ability to understand others emotionally is one of the most quietly powerful skills. You earn trust, create connection, and lead without ever raising your voice. It's not the loudest voice, nor the most impressive talent that draws people in. Instead, it's the quiet, calming presence of someone who knows exactly when to listen, when to speak, and when to simply hold space. Let's be clear. Emotional intelligence and social awareness aren't about manipulating others or controlling every interaction. Instead, they're about navigating life's moments with calm intention and thoughtful clarity. Emotional intelligence, EQ, is the art of recognizing, understanding, and managing both your emotions and those of the people around you. Social awareness means reading subtle cues, the shifts in body language, tone, and atmosphere, and intuitively knowing how to respond, whether to step forward, step back, or simply pause. EQ isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about responding with emotional clarity rather than reacting impulsively. This aligns closely with the Stoic principle of observing first and acting second, always from a place of grounded understanding, never from reckless reaction. Ask yourself this simple yet powerful question: how do I typically react in emotionally charged situations? Knowing this gives you an invaluable insight into your emotional patterns. It shows you where you're strong and where you can grow. This kind of awareness creates internal steadiness. Others feel your calm energy and naturally gravitate toward your stability. Empathy isn't about fixing someone's problems. It's knowing precisely what someone needs in a given moment, whether it's space, silence, or gentle encouragement. It's not about offering solutions. It's about offering your full presence. Small gestures matter enormously. The slight nod when someone shares something vulnerable, a patient pause before speaking, or maintaining gentle eye contact instead of looking away. These quiet actions convey powerful empathy, creating memorable moments of connection. True emotional intelligence means sensing the emotional atmosphere before you even speak. It means being attuned to shifts in the mood and gently adapting your presence to match or uplift the room's energy. Imagine stepping into a tense meeting. Instead of adding fuel to the fire with more stress or opinions, you pause and assess. You listen first, calmly acknowledge the tension without absorbing it, and carefully choose words that stabilize rather than escalate. Epictetus said it perfectly: we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Think about your own experiences. Have you ever felt drawn to someone simply because of their calm presence? Not because they solved your problems, but because they listened, truly listened, and made you feel seen and valued. Here are immediate, simple steps you can start today. Write an emotional journal each night. Notice what triggered your feelings, good or bad, and how you responded. Over time, this self-reflection builds profound awareness. In your next conversation, just listen. Resist the urge to interrupt. Observe the speaker's words, tone, and body language. Offer presence rather than immediate solutions. When anger or frustration arises, pause for 5 seconds. Take a slow, deep breath before responding. This short break can completely transform your emotional response. For long-term mastery, learn to recognize body language. It's often louder than words and can reveal hidden emotions and intentions. Practice mindfulness techniques. Meditate, practice mindful breathing, or simply take mindful walks. These build a calm center that strengthens your emotional intelligence. Watch those who exhibit strong EQ. Observe quietly how they handle challenging situations. Learn by imitation, not just instruction. Now reflect honestly. Am I contributing calm or chaos to my conversations? Do others feel truly seen when they're around me? Remember, emotional intelligence isn't a talent you're born with. It's a skill you cultivate through intention and practice. Being emotionally intelligent isn't about perfection. It's about presence. You don't need to say everything. You simply need to show up with clarity, empathy, and genuine care. In a world full of distractions and noise, the person who genuinely listens stands out. In a noisy world, be the one who truly listens and watch how the world listens back. Number 11. Consistency and reliability. Consistency and reliability are quiet virtues, but they carry undeniable power. In a world overflowing with empty promises and fleeting attention, the person who consistently delivers, without needing applause, becomes a rare force of stability. Every day, we witness noise, Grand statements, over-the-top commitments, and fast starts that fizzle out just as quickly. But then there's that one person, the one who doesn't say much but always follows through. They're not trying to impress you. They're not chasing recognition. They simply honor their word. And that creates something stronger than charm. It builds trust. Not overnight, but moment by moment in the way they live, decide, and show up again and again. Let's simplify what we're really talking about here. Consistency is showing up for what matters, again and again, whether or not it's convenient, exciting, or noticed. Reliability is being the person others can count on, not because you're perfect, but because you're present, grounded, and steady. Think about the friend who's always on time, the coworker who always meets the deadline, the partner who says, "I'm here," and means it. They may not post about it, but their presence builds something more valuable than admiration: trust. And in a world that overvalues charm and underestimates commitment, trust is rare and deeply attractive. The Stoics understood this better than most. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." They didn't waste words convincing others of their values. They let their lives speak for them. That's the essence of Stoic integrity. You don't need to prove who you are. You live it, day by day, quietly and consistently. You don't need applause. You don't even need to be noticed. Because when your actions align with your principles, your character speaks loud enough. Why does consistency draw people in? Because it creates emotional stability. When someone is consistent, they're predictable in the best way. You know they won't flake out. You know they won't overreact one day and disappear the next. You know where they stand because they've shown you over time. This kind of quiet strength doesn't just attract people. It reassures them. It tells them, "You're safe here. I'm not going to change on you without warning." And in a world that often feels chaotic, that kind of emotional safety is rare and unforgettable. You don't need to talk about how trustworthy you are. You just need to be the kind of person whose consistency speaks for itself. You become someone people admire, not because you try to impress them, but because your actions speak for themselves. Now take a breath and ask yourself, am I someone people can rely on? Not every time, not perfectly, but more often than not, do your words and your actions match? Because that's where it starts. You don't need to become a model of discipline overnight. Just begin with keeping your word to yourself. If you say you'll go for a walk, go. If you say you'll call a friend, call. Not because anyone is watching, but because you are. Here are a few small but powerful steps you can take today. Today, pick one promise you made to yourself this week and follow through. If there's something you told someone you'd do, finish it today, no delay. Think of a recent commitment you dropped. Pick it back up, even if no one asked you to. Long term, keep a promise tracker, a simple notebook where you record small commitments and whether you kept them. Build emotional steadiness through Stoic journaling or daily reflection. Choose a guiding principle and commit to living it, especially when no one is looking. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about honoring your word again and again until it becomes part of who you are. Reliability doesn't demand attention. It earns respect quietly over time. It's built in the small moments, in daily discipline, in showing up when it's hard, in doing the right thing even when no one's clapping. You don't have to be spectacular. You just have to be steady. Be the person who shows up, who follows through, who lives by their principles without needing applause. That's real power, and it lasts. At the end of the day, true attractiveness has nothing to do with how much noise you make, and everything to do with how you live when no one's watching. It's in the quiet power of someone who stays grounded, someone whose presence speaks of calm, character, and quiet confidence. Someone like who you're becoming. Today, we've uncovered 11 timeless habits, each one a piece of a deeper kind of magnetism. Not loud, not flashy, but steady, genuine, lasting. And the beauty? You don't have to become someone else to embody them. You just need to return to who you truly are, aligned, intentional, and whole. So let me ask you, which habit will you carry forward after today? Which one already lives quietly within you, waiting to be seen? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if this resonated with you, consider subscribing to Stoic Spirit. Here, we grow in silence, but we grow strong. Keep showing up, Keep refining your inner world, and let your stillness become your loudest voice. Until next time, stay grounded, stay real, and stay quietly powerful.